This is a Samurai Nation podcast on the Samurai Nation Podcast Network. Welcome, everybody. It's another episode of the Cool Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. It's going to be a fun and crazy cool episode for you. So thanks for listening. And shout out to the patrons as well for helping provide this content for us today. And I'm just the vessel through which these things come to your ears. And you're the ones who we thank every freaking episode. It's going to be a fun and cool podcast. We don't have any controversial stuff to talk about this time. Like we did last time, we're going to have to address that here right off the top, and then we'll get into a super fun, cool episode and put all that behind us, I think. I hope. It's the Cool Podcast. Yeah, it's time once again. It's been another week. And it's time for the Cool Podcast. I'm excited to be sitting here today doing the show. It's a lot of fun to do the show. Thanks for listening to the show. Yep, as you know, last week we got into some controversial stuff. We had a very interesting guest, I guess you could say. He said some inflammatory things. And I do regret some of the things that he said, even though I didn't say it. He said it. But he's on my podcast, and I gave him a platform to say some of that stuff. So I'm starting to regret it in that aspect of it. And some of the higher-ups at the podcast didn't like that he was on. I think we're still probationed. I'm not sure. We're just going to keep on keeping on. But we did get a message. We got a voicemail from one of our previous guests and a fellow member of the podcast. You know, the Cool Podcast here, we try to provide an outlet for different voices, and we like to hear both sides of things. And sometimes you do get in trouble doing that, but that's what we do here on the show. And also, we got a suggestion for a new slogan. And the slogan goes as follows: the Cool Podcast. You never know what will happen when you listen to the Cool Podcast. That's right, you never know what will happen when you have a crazy guest on like that. He did say some nasty things. We don't agree with disparaging the Samurai Nation. Or the Samurai Kid, who's now retired from gaming. But we do like to hear people that have some experience podcasting. And we hope that Big Jim is doing okay. I'm not quite sure based on our conversation. But we got this voicemail from one of our fellow members, and we're going to listen to it right now.
Hey, B-Wolf, this is Crab from the Going Deep podcast from the Samurai Nation Podcast Network. Hey, I was giving your most recent show a listen. You know, I was enjoying a deep dish Motor City meatball pizza from Cottage Inn. Really good. Check out my next episode on that. But I can't help feel kind of angry and honestly betrayed by your interview with Big Jim Fridge. I mean, I thought his Samurai Nation hosts stuck together, but I guess it's not the case for all of us. I mean, listen, Beowulf, I went on your show as a favor to you and to help Samurai Nation. You needed help getting off the ground. I was gracious enough to make an appearance and help give you the crab bump, you know? I don't know if you understand, but when I go and guest on a show, I'm hinging my reputation on it. And I definitely didn't expect everything to go down like it did so quickly. A little month later and all this stuff's happening. I mean, come on. You're responsible for what your guests say. You just can't have someone on spewing garbage and just go, well, shucks, you know, that's some crazy stuff you just said. Oh, well. You know, when you pull a stunt like that, it doesn't just discredit you. It makes everyone who's guested on your show look like a fool. Now, you know, I personally think you should still be at Samurai Nation for now. You know, I like you. I think you got potential as a podcaster, but you broke a big-time rule, man. You can't just go out there with your guests just talking crap about Samurai Nation. I mean, you got a good show going. I like your whole thing. You know, you don't have to do this kind of stuff to get noticed. Man, I can't help but feel betrayed once again by someone in my podcasting bubble. Best of luck, man. You'll need it.
Oh, man. I hate hearing that. We love Kreb. He was a guest on one of the episodes, one of our first guests. We've only had a few, and he was one of them. And yes, it's true. We gave this fellow Big Jim a big platform on the show, and he did say some disparaging things about the Samurai Nation. So we'd like to say that the views of our guests, and in this case Big Jim, do not reflect the views expressed by myself and the Cool Podcast in general. We don't stand for that kind of stuff. We don't like that he said that stuff. But we did give him a platform, so we have to sort of fess up and own up to that is what happened. And we're sorry if anyone was offended by some of the stuff that he said. We don't agree, we disagree, but we like to hear both sides of things. So it is kind of a weird scenario that we've put forth for ourselves. And that's just how it goes in the world of pod. So, speaking of the world of pod, let's get into it. Another segment about podcasts, one that we haven't done in a while, and we've got some to listen to. And I'm looking at my levels here on the recording, and they look a little different today, and I hope to God that this is coming through, because we're just going to continue right on with the episode, and we hope it sounds good later. So, this is a podcast. Well, we haven't even got into the dang segment yet because I'm waiting on the music. This is a segment and it's about podcasts. Let's drop that freaking sound drop. It's the Podcast Roundup. Today on the Podcast Roundup, we've got some podcasts to listen to. And we are going to listen to a few. I found some of these on the archive, the Internet Archive, because I remembered that there's some people post their stuff there as well. So I thought that could be a good place to find some podcasts. So I found this one. And this is kind of meta. This is fun. It's kind of meta. The Podcast Review Podcast is what this one's called. And this is episode 9 of the Podcast Review Podcast. And let's see if it plays here.
Oh, yeah! Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Podcast Review Podcast. I'm your host, David Elder, an Associate Professor of Writing and Rhetoric at Morningside College. And you, dear listener, are very lucky because producer Zach is back. Without him, I'd sound like an amateur. I mean, the sound quality would be amateur. It's quite obvious I'm still an amateur, but whatever. This season, we're hoping to add a few more bells and whistles to the podcast, but we probably won't do it for this episode because it's the very beginning of the semester, and this is only the second time Zach and I have seen each other. We'll hammer out our plans for this season as we go. I thought it was more important to get a first episode out and start the semester than to plan. And if you haven't heard the podcast I'm going to review today, you'll thank me, because you'll listen to it, obsessively. I've been extolling its virtues to friends recently, and my friend Andy messaged me yesterday saying that he's, quote, waiting like a junkie for the next episode.
No.
And another friend of mine stated that the fact that this podcast is going to 2 episodes a week is the best news he's had in a while.
So it's a big build-up here. This podcast that we're listening to now is called Podcast Review Podcast, and it's about, the description here is, he's reviewing the podcasts to see how they can be used in a college classroom, and he really, really likes this one. So what's it gonna be? Let's see. Could be anything. It's going to be educational somehow. Let's see.
I'm talking about the political podcast Keeping It 1600. If you're a politics nerd and if you're of a certain political persuasion, this is possibly the best new podcast of 2016 and maybe the best podcast in all of podcastdom. Now, I know what you're thinking, or at least I'm projecting on you what I think you might be thinking. But David, shouldn't you be reviewing something for its pedagogical possibilities and not just fanboying out? Okay, sure. I'll get to that too. But honestly,
David,
this is one that you should just listen to every new episode. This podcast is part of Bill Simmons' new venture, The Ringer, and actually Keeping It 1600 has overtaken Simmons' own podcast as far as popularity on the iTunes 100. In case you don't get the name, and I've had to explain it to a few people, the phrase keeping it 100 means being honest, staying true. So they changed it to 1600 because of the address of the White House. Yay, fun name. Now, before I continue, I should probably do my damn job and give you a little background about the podcast. As with any good podcast, the goodness starts with the hosts. And after I give a little background information on the hosts, it'll be pretty easy to see what political side these guys and this podcast falls on.
I've never listened to this podcast. I wonder if he'll play a clip from it or he'll just talk about it. I've never listened to the Keeping It 1600, and we're in the podcast roundup, so let's... he's probably going to tell us about it, but let me just pull up this one and see. It's a couple of guys, and they're talking about politic. And here over on SoundCloud. And they haven't done an episode in a while. Are these the Podcast America guys too? It is, and their last episode was episode 62. This is an old episode, I guess, of the Podcast Review podcast.
Jon Favreau and Dan Pfeiffer host the podcast. Now, this isn't the Jon Favreau that starred in Swingers with Vince Vaughn and directed a couple of Iron Man movies. No. This is the speechwriting prodigy that worked for Senator Barack Obama starting in 2005 and became Obama's chief speechwriter in 2007 and eventually the White House's director of speechwriting from 2009 to 2013. Favreau has held many different positions in different Democratic campaigns. Dan Pfeiffer has also held many positions within Democratic administrations and campaigns, but most notably he was White House Director of Communications from 2009 to 2013.
All right. That's pretty boring. So it is the what is it? Pod Save America guys, and I guess they joined up and that's when they started the other one. Because it ended, we'll just listen to the last episode of Keeping It 1600. Is this the podcast roundup?
Today's episode of Keeping It 1600 is brought to you by the Podcast Network.
They had no idea what was going to happen 3 or 4 years later. They had no clue. I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Policy, he will be taking actions, and we won't have like conjecture, speculation, and random tweets to talk about as much. We'll have actual consequences, of which most of us are scared of. But yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
We'll just like get deep into we'll do a deep textual analysis of his Medicare privatization plan once a week. It'll be awesome.
Get excited, guys.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the Democrats and our party's strategy moving forward in the Trump era.
No.
I know this is a podcast is audio, but did you do air quotes around strategy when you said that?
I did. If you can't see through the microphone, but I'm rolling my eyes. Yes.
So this podcast ended the road ahead in 2017. Man, those were the days, huh? Well, that's the Podcast Review podcast. And they've got some other ones. I haven't done one in a while. There's only 10 episodes. David Elder. And he's teaching you about how the podcast can be used to teach college classes or something. The next podcast we got on the podcast roundup. And I truly, sincerely hope that this is recording the right sound and stuff. Let me just take a little second and let's And let me just double check. All right, it's sounding good. It's all sounding good to me. I just had to double check. I got kind of paranoid that it wasn't coming through. The levels look low, but they're coming in good. That's a little behind the scenes. That's something that happens when you're podcasting. You got to make sure everything sounds good. And normally it sounds great, so I wasn't too concerned, but sometimes you never know what the heck is going on with these levels. They don't look like the big peaks and valleys that I'm used to. Anyway, that's a little behind the scenes about my podcast, the one you're listening to. We're deep in the podcast roundup right now. So let's listen to one more and then we got to get out of it. We got some more stuff to do. This is an interesting podcast. This one was on the archive. The Alligator Show, episode 115. In the description here, we apologize for this episode. Your refund is in the mail. So it's the Alligator Show. Bubba and the Big Stank.
Oh, yeah!
Hi, Froggies, I believe that's my dinner bell.
It's always dinner time for you.
That's cause this is the Alligator
I might be a croc, I don't know.
Show.
Oh, you're definitely a croc.
Then why do they call me Alligator?
I don't know.
Brought to you by the Doolittle Project.
Check out the games on that buzz.
Find out more at www.doolitleproject.com. That's www.doolittleproject.com.
And now let's find out what's going on. Now get smoke.
Okay, this is going to be another classic episode of
It's a
some
classic
kind of
episode.
a swamp alligator, or might be a crocodile. You know, I've decided to release a whole new line of fragrances for ladies that want to be funky. I'm gonna call them. I haven't quite decided, but which do you like best? I was thinking of calling them stank or stench. Stank sort of sounds swank, you know. It's kind of upper crust, and stench kind of sounds like something for people down in a trench, ladies that want to make being down in a trench real sexy, you know what I mean?
I like that stuff they have wedged under the door. It kind of is like rotten cheese. It's been sitting there for a few years and it's kind of wedged over into the edge of the door, and then one day you open the door and it comes out and all of a sudden you smell it and it knocks you over.
Yeah, that was kind of the, well, I have a patent on that. Did you steal that?
The name's a little long.
I think the name should be something, you know, short that
Door
people
cheese might
can
work.
remember. Like stank or stench. How about Stanky's fragrance? Stanky's swamp fragrance.
How about Stanky's stench?
How about, you know, we are going to do some market research. We're going to hand some of it out free in the mall. And we're going to use it. We're going to start off the...
You have someone hired to resuscitate people too, right?
Well, that's what we use it for. I show up with a whole cart of this stuff, and then they scream and they pass out, and then I hold some of my stanky stench under their nose, and they go, "Oh my!" And they wake up and they look at me, and they're glad that I don't smell as bad as what just woke them up.
Okay. Weird. The Alligator Show. It's pretty funny. That episode's only 7 minutes long. It looks like they don't. Looks like it's they don't do it anymore. It's the Surrealistic podcast features absurdist dialogues between an imaginary alligator and a real human being. As they skewer politics, religion, science, metaphysics, and human folly, the talent never knows in what direction the improvisations will veer. That's pretty funny. Most of them are not very long, about 7 minutes, so go check out the Alligator Show on the archive. We love the archive. We did the bonus episode about it. All right, that's the podcast roundup. It's fun. It's fun to do. Now we're going to do a little interlude here with a new segment, and then we're going to end the show on one of our favorite segments. So, this is going to be a fun segment that we like. We just started doing it not too long ago. And as most segments go, when you first start out, they're not quite what you thought they would be. So now it's time for round 2. Kind of like how the review segment last week went off without a hitch. So this one we're hoping is going to be the same. It's a new segment. It's the free sound for all. Free sound for all.
All teams ready? All teams ready? All teams ready?
I definitely heard it that time. I'm gonna go upstairs and check the other recorders.
All teams ready?
but I definitely heard it that time. I'm gonna go upstairs and check the other recorders.
That was the free sound for all segment. I think that's good to end on the sound drop, just to let you know that there was a beginning and an end to that. So that was kind of cool. It was kind of like creepy and weird. Just a little ambiance to get your head feeling crazy. And that was various tabs open up from the website freesound.org. You just go in there and open up a bunch of tabs and start playing stuff and come up with a little sound collage. So that's what that segment is. If this is your first time listening, welcome in. And that's a new segment that we're doing now. Now, we have a big story to talk about on the back half of the show. We have a big story to talk about on our next segment. And let's just see if I can do a little transition right here on our next segment. It's the contest corner. We have got some big stuff to talk about in the contest corner. It's our friend here. We love him. We talk about him every episode, seems like.
Hello, I'm Baxter Lee, founder of Save Win Club. Thanks for watching my drawing video
Baxter
today.
Lee.
Please be sure to subscribe, follow, like, give me some love on social media.
Don't forget to tap the bell
Let's
icon.
Have some fun and give away $100.
It's fun. The Save Win Club.
As you know, we love simple. Save Win Club. So we use a very simple Google Sheet to do our drawings.
Simple.
Everybody down here in light orange sent me an email or interacted with our daily email. I'll scroll slowly so everybody can see themselves. Yellow is everybody that has one membership in the club, kind of, testing it out. Light blue is everybody making their way up to what I like to call the winner circle in green. It's when you have more than 100 memberships, it gives you a very good chance, much better chance to win that $1,000 each month.
Okay, we're going to break this down because we did a bunch of research. We are journalists now. We're breaking the story and we're discovering and uncovering more things about the Save Win Club. It's a lot of fun being a member, apparently. I don't know if I believe that. I think these people are getting fleeced. So, it's the Save Win Club. It's a thing where you join in for $11 membership, and it enters you into all the various contests. So they have a daily drawing for $100. They have a weekly drawing for $1,000 and a monthly drawing. I think those are the numbers. The daily drawing is $100. So anyway, there's many drawings. You can buy multiple memberships, and it's like an entry into these various contests. So you get a chance for $100 every day, or weekly you get more. So the more memberships you have, the more chances you get to win the big contests. And so one thing on his videos, if you haven't went and looked him up for yourself, it's basically a little OBS setup here with his webcam and then his Excel sheet that he's talking about. So we went through and talked about how the orange colored names, and he's got like the number of memberships they have and their name and what state they're from. And this guy's in Tennessee. So you can look at his Excel sheet. So I thought, I'm going to look at the Excel sheet and I'm going to write down and try to figure out how many memberships there are and how much freaking money this guy has. And I did some back of the hands math, and I figured out that he has approximately 4,000 memberships. Now that's how many $10 payments are in the system. It doesn't really count how many people, I guess, but there's a lot of people on this damn thing.
So, we use a random number generator. So it'll be random between. For today, it is 1, and it's 49,529. Winner is 13 through 45. All right, we have a formula in column K that helps me find the winner.
Let's find the winner.
There we go, Peggy M. Congratulations, Peggy. You just won yourself $100. Thanks for watching my drawing
$100.
video today. Join the fun.
Join the fun.
The club, and be like our friend Peggy, who just won. Thanks again. See you again tomorrow.
I want $100. So what did I say? He had 4,000 memberships. But then he's got, on the left side, he's got all these numbers where it equals to 49,529. And that's the number of drawings. Drawing number. Now I'm just looking at this Excel sheet, and it doesn't help the listener to know what I'm talking about. Drawing number. Active memberships. Maybe I did the math wrong. Maybe the number was there this whole time. Once again, I've been outsmarted and thwarted by Baxter Lee. Maybe I was off by a 0. 30, maybe it should be 49,000. But anyway, suffice it to say, with that many memberships, approximately $10 for each one, that's quite a lot of money each month. So you get your memberships, you can get a refund anytime if you're not happy, or you might be happy because you get $100, like Peggy did. So we did some research, we went into their website, and we found that they had some different disclaimers and stuff. And now I have to see if I can find that again and go into the FAQ. So we're gonna reveal something about Baxter Lee and his Save Win Club. He talks about the marshmallow test. He doesn't like the current predatory system that leaves too many people with not enough. Let's see. Sweepstakes rules. There's all kinds of rules. You enter the sweepstakes. Okay. So there was a big disclaimer. The sweepstakes okay. Well, I guess I didn't do enough. Any attempt to deliberately damage the sweepstakes or undermine the legitimate operation is a violation of criminal laws. We did some research. I swear I know what I'm talking about, but now it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh no, I think Nemico found this. Very important note. The Save Win Club is not a bank offering any type of savings account, FDIC insured or otherwise. Save Win Club is not a broker-dealer offering investments or any investment advice to the public. So you can get a refund on your membership, and he's not offering any advice. It's not a bank, but you can withdraw your money at any time, or you can win a big prize and keep your money in the Save Win Club bank, I guess. So we did some Googling, some handy dandy Googling, and we found a lawsuit against Baxter Lee and the Save Win Club, the cease and desist from the state of Tennessee. Baxter Lee and his Save Win Club LLC. Let's see. The commissioner is finding the facts, and they found some stuff against Baxter Lee. He's a Tennessee resident who has never been registered as a broker, dealer, agent, investment advisor, or investment advisor representative in Tennessee. And it lists his address. it's a limited liability company. That's what LLC stands for. Baxter Lee also owns a bookstore. So in all of his videos, he's got all these books behind him. It's because he owns a freaking bookstore. And it's like has like kids books and toys and stuff too. So he's not an investment banker. However, the people in the contest continue to invest money from Tennessee citizens. Or wait, no, Baxter Lee is doing this, as well as money from other states' citizens via a Fidelity account open in the name of Save Win LLC. Oh no! He admitted that he placed all trades and securities in this Fidelity account and made all determinations in what to buy, sell, and invest on behalf of Save Win LLC. On all the people that provided him money. He referred to these members as investors. He's approximately 179 members, and this is as of what's the date on this thing? Anyway, this is the Tennessee government document officially cease and desist against Baxter Lee and his Save Win stuff. It says he confirmed that he's not a registered broker, investment agent, all that kind of stuff. He admitted in the interview that he advised that the money that they gave would be invested in conservative investments, like government bonds. He had not earned any compensation for his services, but he intended to receive compensation once the company made money, which I guess is from these investments. He used the money from the bank account to cover expenses or charges. He used the money from the LLC bank account, which is the only bank account he asserts exists for Save Win LLC, to cover expenses or charges to his book company that he partly owns and operates. And the state of Tennessee is telling him that he's engaged in fraud and misrepresentation by the funds. That we need to bring action against Baxter Lee. So I guess he's claimed that he was doing investments with the money from Save Win Club, I guess. And then that he was engaged in fraud and misrepresentation. Respondent continued, unlawful conduct provides grounds to pursuant in the Tennessee codes. You got to watch out for those codes. It's a cease and desist from engaging in the fraud. And he can't be buying and selling, making trades with the Save Win LLC account. So he has a right to the attorney and stuff. Okay, so this is February 11th, 2020, right before the big pandemic came down. Baxter Lee was in court, and there was a cease and desist, but it had to do with some of these shady investments he was making on behalf of the Save Win Club. So now, on his website, this is what Nemico found, is that the Save Win Club is not a bank offering account, and they're not a broker-dealer. So that had to be in response to this here lawsuit. And so now, we're not really sure. I guess the Save Win Club was founded to do some investments or something with these sweepstakes monies or something. But then maybe it turned into contests after that, which is leading me to think, here on the fly, this is what I'm doing. I'm like the fly on the wall with the justice and the internet and all that stuff. I'm checking out savewin.com on the archive. Back to the archive. We love them. We're going to see if there's any evidence. It looks like there's some from 2010. And we're checking to see if there's anything. I want to see if there's anything about how he's doing investing. This is live on the air. Save Win Club. This is exciting stuff. For the first time ever on the Contest Corner, we're doing some hard-hitting investigations. And it looks like we have some from 2017, 2018. Let's try to get one And maybe he didn't even have this website back then. I think he just started doing this, so maybe we don't have a capture on the Wayback Archive, but we're looking to see, we're loading it up, and we're looking to see if there's anything about Save Win Club. And it looks like we're getting some weird stuff. It looks like it's not working here. Anyway, that's the latest stuff on Save Win Club, that he was engaged into some weird, shady investment stuff with his money. And then I guess it turned into a contest or something. I don't really understand. But we weren't looking into the Save Win Club back then. But it does make sense that maybe it sort of morphed from some weird investment thing into, well, now it's got to be about contests. It's got to be about doing a contest instead of investing. And maybe he had some other scheme before that. But it still has this language about investing and you're doing wise things with your money and being in a club and stuff. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. All right, well, it's kind of weird. Just like this episode's been kind of weird. Feeling a little bit shaken by the Kreb voicemail. Still a little bit shaken by some of the paranoia about my sound not working correctly. Not sure where I stand with Samurai Nation. I kind of frustrated a lot of people. So it's kind of a strange episode. I'm feeling a little odd. But I did want to do a new segment. This doesn't have a special sound drop. It's a new segment. We're going to check out and see what's going on in the world of Bitcoins. This is just a little Bitcoin update for everybody. See how your money's doing. We don't have a special drop for it, but we do have some special music. And we don't even have a name for it yet. Give me back my coin. Is that a good name? The coin can't be the coin corner. It's going to be, I want my coins. Okay. Rank number 1. Here we're at coin market cap. This is a little coin update, and then we're going to end the show. Just to make sure everyone knows what's going on with their coins. Number 1 on the coin market cap. This is your coin update. Bitcoin, number 1. They've gone up 1.33%. Congrats to them. Price of $9,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. Number 2, Ethereum. Congrats to Ethereum for being number 2. And their price is at $231. And that's been a change, an uptick of 2.58%. So congrats to Ethereum. They're doing great. Number 3 on the list of Bitcoins for the day, the Bitcoin update, Tether. And their price is $1. And they've had a very small change. And then after that, number 4, XRP. That's the next Bitcoin on the Bitcoin update. 0.93% change. That's pretty good. At the price of 17 cents. And then below that, you got Bitcoin Cash. What? The price of $225. And then Bitcoin SV at number 6 with a negative, oh no, 0.27%. The Bitcoin SV, whatever that, SVU, they're solving crimes over there. It's going down. It's dropped precipitously. We don't know what SV stands for. And there's also Bitcoin Cash. And I thought Bitcoin was just ones and zeros and stuff. So we got some other ones. Litecoin's doing good. 0.87%. Bitcoin Binance Coin. They're doing good too. You got Cardano, Crypto.com coin. They're up 0.55%. And then you got EOS. We love EOS at 0.9%. And that's the Bitcoin update. That's the Bitcoin update. We've got nowhere else to go on the show. We've done all the segments. And we're looking at the time here. We're making good time. So I think that'll be it for the podcast today. We hope things go well for us. We know that some people didn't like the interview from last week. Some of the things that were said, we didn't agree with them either. And we're not going to have him on the show anymore because people didn't like that. But we try to give a voice to all sides of things. So, we heard some good podcasts. We looked in, we'd said a lot of smart things about the Save Win Club because we read some legal documents live on the air. And we're going to go straight to his address and demand to get our money back from Baxter Lee. We did the free sound collage. That was cool. This is just the wrap-up segment now. We did the sound collage. That was crazy. We're going to have to do another one of those. That was fun. I think it went well. And then our new Bitcoin segment, give me back my coin. Or also, I want some more coin. We're still thinking of a good name for that one. That's just going to be a little coin update. See what the coins are doing. It only takes a few minutes, about the length of that song that we did there. So anyway, that's the show. It's a weird show. We'll be back doing the regular show this week on Sunday. It's a special show. It's going to be about a cool stream legend that you know and love, Rob Skiba. So we're going to have some seed talk. We love the seed. And it's going to be fun. So thanks for listening to the Cool Podcast. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the show. It's the Cool Podcast. It's the Cool Podcast. You thought it was over? It's still going. It's the Cool Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks to all the patrons out there. We'll see you next time. We'll be seeing you. It's fun being a patron, but we'll be seeing you on the other side of the Cool Podcast. Bye-bye.
Woo!
That is crazy. Oh, my word.
That was a Samurai Nation podcast on the Samurai Nation Podcast Network.
That want to make being down in a trench real sexy, you know what I mean?